Understanding language, often called natural language processing, in multiple forms, it's a very important capability. If we think about it as a source of data, you can think of the multiple sources that you could access. You could access newspapers, reviews that are often done on most products today. You could access videos of the many postings that are done by many populations. You can even think about accessing and extracting information from job applicants, from resumes that are out in the open. The recommendation systems as well that are pretty prevalent within the market. And ultimately, you would want to understand, get some sense of the sentiment in a variety of contexts. This is important. If you have access to this data, perhaps in politics, you want to understand how a population feels about a certain idea. In a corporate setting, it can be a very important strategic position to understand how customers might feel about a certain product. And ultimately, you can use all of this information to create predictive models. Now, given the importance and wide applicability of NLP, natural language processing, there has been a lot of work being done, and there are a lot of packages that allow you to do this. Now, as we've done in previous example, there's also NLP platforms that are widely available by some of the large machine learning platforms. These platforms leverage the predictive algorithms that they have built over time based on the large sources of data that they have. And so that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the browser where I will do a small demonstration about these capabilities. And I'm going to be using, in this case, the AI machine learning platform from Google. And as you can see here, we can test this platform by simply pasting in some text. Obviously, you can use this in a programmatic fashion and attach it to any of the products or any of the tasks that you want to perform within your company as well. And as we have mentioned in the past, this type of capability is also available from several of the other major platforms. In this case, you can think of Amazon and you can think of Microsoft as an example of two others. So the example I'm going to use is perhaps a silly one. It is reviews from a can opener. I recently bought one, and I was surprised by the polar opposites of the reviews. It is sort of a novel can opener, and if you don't use it right, you really can't open anything. And if you happen to get the right technique, then it's wonderful. But because of it, the reviews were pretty extreme. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in first a positive review, and I'm going to go ahead and press on the button there that says Analyze. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is that there are a number of entities or words that the platform has identified as understanding. And you can see below that for many of them, it provides a link to a Wikipedia page, which in fact, in this case, I don't really see any for. Let me go ahead and scroll and see if I find some definitions. And no, in fact, in this case, it has not found any. However, the functionality that's part of this platform typically would find the words such as hammer and would provide a link to a Wikipedia page. So it is identifying some knowledge that it understands, and it is providing links to further deeper explanations. So if I click on the sentiment page, you can see here that this is a pretty positive review. The review can range here on the score when it comes to sentiment from -1 to +1. So as you can see, most everything is positive with a couple of exceptions there. And we could also look, in fact, at even the structure of the language and how this is composed for deeper analysis. One possible use of this is to look at the stem of the words to try to do perhaps a Bayesian or other type of analysis, and to not have to go through the trouble of trying to find the stem of words and so on. You could also use categories to try to classify what this document might be from. You can think on the context of technical publications being submitted and trying to understand in automated fashion what category they should go into. This is a capability that you could use. So let's go ahead and take a look at the negative review. I'm going to post that directly onto the same field here. I'm going to go ahead and paste it and go ahead and analyze it as well. And as you can see there, we get the same identification. Well, not the same, but identification of entities as well. And if we look at the negative, not at the negative, but at the sentiment, you can see that it's a lot more negative. We see a lot more red. And this is because this is a negative review. So you can imagine that if you were monitoring, say, a restaurant, or if you were monitoring the uptake of a new product, you could use this technique to source discussion forums, or to source reviews, or to source other sources of information that you could then use to try to understand how your product is being adopted. And if you had to react or you had to do some intervention, you could be notified and do that in a timely fashion. Now, ultimately, in a business setting, you might have other types of analysis that you want to do. You may want to do large classifications of documents. You might want to do deeper understanding. And it is just a widely used technique that can have many different applications. So with that in mind, within your organization, where would you apply these techniques?